So here I am in the historic centre of Manaus. Behind me is the Theatre of the Amazons. This is actually a really fun square in Manaus because you get free internet, and when I was here last year, at around about the same, like within 2 or 3 days, Facebook was like, guess what you were doing 1 year ago? You were in this square taking a photo of this Christmas tree and getting a video of yourself juggling here. And it also said, and 2 years ago, guess what you were? You were also in the square using the free Wi-Fi to go onto Facebook and taking a photo of this Christmas tree. So this is now 4 years in a row I've been here in the first weekend of December, taking photos and posting photos of the Christmas tree and getting a juggling video here in front of the theatre. I think I'm going to do that again. So 2 interesting things happened in my 2 shows that I performed here last night on the Prinsendam. The first is that I performed my club juggling routine, a new club juggling routine, under this low ceiling for the first time, because this is the Prinsendam, and the Prinsendam has got the showroom at sea. It's a very small venue and it's got a very low ceiling, and there's pretty much no way to start my show without addressing the fact that I'm going to be doing a juggling show where I want to do high throws under a very low ceiling.
The guys here, the technical group, great technical group, saying, hey Luke, don't worry, if you throw something up and hit the ceiling here, we can just repaint it, don't worry about that. They say, if you throw something up and hit the lights, don't worry, we've got spare light bulbs. But they said, what you should not do is hit the sprinkler system.
For the last 5 years or so, I've actually been performing my ring routine in this low ceiling theatre as the main part of my show, but I've not actually been doing my full ring routine because it's just not high enough at all. When I choreographed the 3-ring section, I actually made sure that all of the 3-ring section didn't have any high throws, or if they did have a high throw, it wasn't sort of like necessary to do the trick. So instead of doing my full ring routine here, I would do the 3-ring section without the high throws, with doing a 1-up pirouette at the end instead of a 3-up pirouette at the end, and then I would cut out the 4-ring section completely and then not finish with 5 and 7 rings, but just finish with 5 rings. That works. It's a fun version of the show, but it's only a version of the show, and it feels very much like a compromised version of the show, because to be honest, it is a compromised version of a show. But that means that when I was choreographing my club routine, what I did is I was thinking, okay, well, this has to replace the ring routine in my show, so why not right from the very beginning do the whole thing, choreograph the whole thing so it can fit under a low ceiling, and worst case scenario, fit under a low ceiling like this here in the Prinsendam. Now the light isn't great here on the stage right now, but I just want to show like some of the problems that I've got here. If we're normally actually in my show, I demonstrate with a club that I can't really throw the club up. I can do like a tight double, but anytime I do even something remotely like floaty, it's going to hit the ceiling, and which makes it very difficult. Now normally when I'd want to be performing, if I was choreographing a show, I'd be like, right, I want to do like the main juggling right in the center of the stage. However, you can't do that here on the Prinsendam, because right in the center of the stage, you've got these lightings here, you've got some other lights there, you've got, as I pointed out before, the sprinkler system right here in the middle of the stage. However, there are these 2 cavities above the stage, which are about here, which I can actually do a nice floaty double. There just happens to be a hole there. And then on the other side of the stage, over here, another hole that I can just do a floaty double in. So, when I was choreographing my show, the club routine for the first time, I thought, well, I actually want to do quite a few of the sections on one side of the stage where there's that cavity, and then on the other side where there's that cavity. And that kind of design constraint made my club juggling routine, the choreography, actually more interesting for me to do, because I start with 5 clubs lined up in a row on the stage, and the first section I stand at one end of the club line, pick up 2 clubs, do some juggling, put them down again, and then when I do the 3 club section, I pick up 3 clubs at the other end of the line of clubs on the stage, which is over here, and pretty much stay at that end of the line, and then put those clubs down. And then when I do the 4 clubs, I start at this end, I work my way up, and then do the 4 club section again at the end, and then I move across over to that side and do it. And it's only when I get to the 5 club section at the end of my show where I actually stand right in the middle of the stage. So for the 5 club section, I actually came down here onto the front here, into the middle, perform the 5 clubs, and then it was a bit weird because I had to kind of rush through the end of the routine to jump back up on stage and to put the 5 clubs back in a line on stage again. But I kind of got through it, and the first show that I did make a mistake. When I kicked up into 4 clubs, I did hit the light above the stage with one of the clubs and dropped then. But then in the second show, I got through all the way through the second show with no bounces off the ceiling and no drops at all. A few little fumbles, but no real drops, and so I was very, very pleased with how my club juggling routine went last night under an extreme low ceiling for the first time, and it's because I designed it that way from the start. So the other thing that happened in my show last night could pretty much only have happened here on the Prinsendam. There's a part of my show where I do a comedy routine and I get someone out of the audience on stage with me and they throw me balls and I go from juggling no balls up into juggling 5 balls without stopping juggling. Oh, that's the idea. Okay, that's what I tell the audience I'm going to do. So as they throw me the first few balls, I tell the audience volunteer and I tell the audience that they're actually practicing the throws. So when I go from juggling 4 balls into juggling 5 balls, that last throw is going to be perfect and I'm going to catch it out of the air stress-free. What I'm actually doing is I'm training the volunteer to throw the ball perfectly so it hits me directly in my face.
1, 2, 3. Big throw! Just throw it! Oh!
I've been doing this routine in my show for about 10 years now, and it's amazing how well I can manipulate the audience volunteer to throw the ball directly into my face. And it's one of my favorite parts of the show because I get to react really big and I throw the balls away and they all bounce everywhere and I drop them. So that clip was from my second show last night, but let's look at the same moment from the first show, and that volunteer's throw was perfectly on target.
1, 2, 3. Big throw. Big throw. That's good. Oh!
I mean, I had to kind of step a little bit back into the left to make sure the ball hit me directly in the face, but only jugglers watching this would notice it. But did anyone notice what went wrong?
Did anyone see where ball number 4 went? What? Up? Really? Really? Okay.
Let's see what happened again. This time in slow motion. Zoom in, enhance.
Big throw. That's good. Oh! That's good. Oh!
A bit of a situation. What could I do? Well, I don't actually normally carry around a spare 10cm Burrage stage ball with me because they're quite big, take up a lot of space.
And that's the first time I've ever lost a ball. Well...
So what I did, I just went over to my case, got out of it a beanbag that I used earlier on in my show, and said to the audience, hey, let's just pretend that this beanbag is a normal size ball, and I got on with the show. Overall, that show was a big success despite the technical difficulties halfway through. But the best part is what happened after my show when most of the audience had already left the theatre.
Did you get it? Oh man, it didn't take any time at all.